Can you tell we're really hungry?
Very hungry. I'm ready to eat.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Hey guys, welcome to the Revival Social Club. If it's your first time joining us, I hope you click the like and subscribe button below and follow us, and every Thursday you'll get a happy little reminder that our show is coming out, because that's when they come out, on Thursdays.
How about that?
How about that? My name's Mike. This here is Malia Christie. Dave was somewhere around working the cameras, but he fell in a hole, a big hole, nowhere to be found ever again. And then as he's falling, we could hear him say, "Did you check the time code? Did you see the shot of the jib?
Check out this jib.
Look out the jib shot." And he fell and never to be found. So anyway. So that's us, and we're the Social Club. And today you might notice something a little bit different. There's a lot of stuff happening in front of us, because today we're talking charcuterie board. So it's not always going to be cocktails or booze, which is a lot of fun. You know, part of a social club is also eating, and you want to eat well, and we're going to show you a fun way to do that and teach you a little bit about charcuterie in the process, because what goes better with friends and drinking than charcuterie? Not a lot of things. I mean, I guess you could make hot dogs.
Hot dogs, or the little pinwheel sandwich. Ooh, the ones with like the cucumber.
Yeah, and those are good. I mean, that's tasty. But if you're really going to have throw a really fun, kind of house party, invite some really cool people over, and really just enjoy the evening and have some light bites and just high end, really enjoy it. Charcuterie is probably one of your best bets, and you can do it. You know, there's all kinds of levels, so you can do it on the cheap, you can do it on the very expensive, and we're going to do something that's just really nice. We're going to focus on what's the quality more than anything. So first things first, we get into charcuterie, and what is it? Most people, when they see the word, they don't even know how to pronounce it. It's like a charcuterie.
I'll just get the meat and cheese platter.
Yeah, and then it turns into I'll just whatever the meat and cheese is, and we're like, yep, she got it, charcuterie. But charcuterie is actually a French word, because it is really coming back from the 15th century. Different French shops, when they would salt and cook meat in order to preserve it, because if you know anything about anything, back then we didn't have refrigeration, so in order to really preserve meat so it would last longer, curing was one of the best ways they did that, and they used different salts. So in these different French shops, they came up with a term called charcuterie. It was really more or less the combination of a few terms. Shark, if I'm pronouncing, I'm not French, but if you a shark, which basically is flesh. It's the French word for flesh, and then cuit, which would be the French term for cooked. So what you get is basically in English cooked flesh, which does not sound appetizing.
It puts the lotion in the basket.
Yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like. Some interesting Hannibal type situation. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, feel free to order it as cooked flesh.
Yeah.
But I think most of us
Chianti.
with a nice side of Chianti. But really, charcuterie is that's it right there. Charcuterie.
And the French, the person who was the shopkeeper who prepared it was called a charcutier.
A charcutier. Very nice.
Charcutier.
I think charcutier is that's a very sexy way of saying it. But the practice of curing meats goes way back, even way further than the 15th century. I mean, you're looking at the 6th century in Rome. Right. As they started slowly conquering the world, they needed to take different foods with them, and meat was certainly important, especially if you're some badass Roman warrior. You need your protein, so you're definitely taking stuff like the meat, and curing it is the only way to do that. So, I mean, we're talking about a practice that's gone on for basically, humans, as long as we've kind of existed, is that.
I feel like you're channeling your inner
I feel it, man. My inner Spartan warrior is coming out. Back my old Marine Corps days, it's like, here it comes, nothing but meat. That's what charcuterie was. It was nothing but meat. But as we've gone through I guess we've grown as a people, and we've become more enlightened. We're not just eating meat. Now it's like we don't eat just to eat, we're eating to enjoy it. So you start pairing these different styles of meats with different cheeses and different accoutrements and those sorts of things. And we've kind of evolved into a more modern charcuterie. So although the word charcuterie still means meats, the idea of a charcuterie board now has a lot more to it. And really, since we're starting with meats, why don't you tell us about some of these different meat styles?
Right. So as far as the modern board, I know he said it started out with nothing but meat, and all I could think of was you just said butt meat. Sorry.
I did. No, actually, a lot of people here, if you're Carolina pork person, butt rubbing meat, Carolina pork, I mean, that's what you want.
Yeah, you want the butt.
You do want that. Man, there's a lot of good stuff that comes out of the butt of a pig.
Ew. Okay. Yeah. But so, what we were talking about was, because it's not only meat nowadays, the modern charcuterie board, it should have a wide range of options. And knowing that the salting and curing kind of came from Rome and then, became a very French practice. French are known for amazing cheeses, so I feel like that's probably logically kind of where that came in. But you want to make sure that you've got a good balance on your board, which includes meat, cheese, starch like bread or crackers, the accoutrement, as Mike was talking about, which is just all kinds of other goodies on there. But what that really does is it kind of covers all of the major components of taste. There's sweet, there's salty, there's acidic or sour, then there's umami, and that's savory flavor. So on a board that you see when it's properly prepared, it just kind of has something for everyone and every flavor. And of course you can figure out what your guests really like, first, or you can just kind of surprise them and just say, here's what we've got, and it's really special, and I did a lot of hard work on it, and if you don't like it, you're wrong, and get out.
You could, but you'd be a terrible host. Like, don't do that.
No, don't do that.
You're a terrible host.
No, don't do that. And then, you can add, depending on what your guests like, you can add some vegetarian options as well, but as far as your standard board, it's usually going to include always meats and cheeses.
So with those meats, if you're going to prepare like a really nice board, like Malia said, you want the different styles. So sometimes it's really great to get like something that's pre-sliced, or like a whole muscle type meat that's pre-sliced, like a prosciutto, or in the case that we're going to show you here, it's a ham in a prosciutto style. Something that you slice that's almost more interactive, and that's a lot of fun sometimes, getting a really nice hard type of meat, like a soppressata or a chorizo or a salami thing that you can really slice and get into the whole, in some ways it feels what?
Interactive,
interactive, but also more.
Are you trying to think of barbarian, where you get to hack at the meat?
Barbarian, where you're slicing into the meat, and it's the fattiness and the oiliness, and you're really in the moment, and it's part of the experience of the charcuterie.
And a fun way to do that is pre-slice some of because they're going to be harder, denser meats. So pre-slice a few, lay it on the board, and then if you trust your guests with sharp objects, give them a knife and leave some of that whole chub is what those harder meats are called. Leave some of that on the board so they'll see, it's sliced, but then you can do more slices yourself.
Yeah, and if you're not grossed out by spreadable meats, which you shouldn't be because they're really delicious, but there's something weird about spreading meat, like a pate. It's like, for some of us, it's just got the consistency is weird, and that mouthfeel. I know that kind of, that's that's why I hate mushrooms, because the mouthfeel of a mushroom. But like something like a spreadable meat, it might look strange, but it's really delicious. And if you can get past kind of the look and the fact that you're spreading meat,
there will be someone in your crowd that will say, "Oh, it looks like dog food or cat food or canned food or whatever," and it's like, just put it in your mouth and then talk to me about it in a minute.
Try it later. But that's the fun thing. So you get these these different styles of meat with different mouthfeels and different flavor profiles, and you really create something amazing. And then, of course, the cheese to accompany the meats. You have your different styles, more hard, pungent cheeses like a Parmesan, like a semi-hard cheese, like a cheddar, aged Gouda, an Havarti, something more soft, like a goat milk, something spreadable, like a brie, or, and I always get this one wrong, chèvre.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
A chèvre.
Chèvre.
A chèvre.
Yes,
Chèvre cheese. But something soft, so it, it balances with the different styles of meats, and you get those nice things in there. And of course, kind of the cherry on the top of our charcuterie board are our accoutrements, like whole grain mustards, different olives, preserves, nuts, dried fruits, different styles, artisan crackers, really nice things. You kind of blend all those together, and you have basically a symphony in your mouth, like there's a party in your mouth and everyone's invited, because you got all these really fun, contradictory flavors. Some of them are complementing, some of them are contradicting, but you get this really nice, and it's,
Right. And if you want to get, real creative and you want to like show your guests that it's very intentional, you can do kind of a tour of the world. You can kind of do a tour de France or a tour de Spain or what have you, and you can pick your meats and cheeses and some accoutrement that are from a particular region. One last little note I'll throw in is I know that, kind of the last category of each of the meats and cheeses, like the spreadable meats like pate and roulettes and spreadable salamis, and then like the soft cheeses, which are going to be like goat's milk cheeses and brie and things like that, which I feel like everyone loves brie, but and the camemberts, and those can be some of like the really, really soft, stinky cheeses, and some people may not prefer that, and that's okay. I don't love pate or camembert or things like that, but what you can do is substitute. You can just do, for your meat, you can do something that's very like rich and creamy and a softer kind of meat. Like, you could do a salami for your one that you're slicing, and then you can do like a really, really fatty, moist chorizo. So you don't have to have those, like we said, there's no hard and fast rule. And then the same thing with the really soft cheeses, instead of doing that, if you don't want to do something spreadable, then you can just do something really, really, really light, like a Havarti or a Munster or something that's just really buttery and creamy, and that's kind of one of the ideas for that. I think those are the two that kind of sometimes throw people.
All right, guys, we talked a lot about what charcuterie is, and we've shown you some examples, and now we're even going to get even further into the examples with a board that we've specially prepared for you. But really more for us, because we're going to eat it. Yeah, but at least to give you some ideas of what you can do with a charcuterie board. And of course, again, no wrong answers, so go nuts.
Yep. So the charcuterie board that we've prepared kind of covers all of those basics, but kind of go nuts with it, like Mike said. But to start with, we've got the pre-sliced meat, which is a prosciutto style ham that we have here. And then second, Barbarian Mike was telling you about how there's one that you can slice yourself or that your guests can slice. So we've got a Vesuvio salami that's got provolone aged in with it. And then we decided to avoid the spreadable meat like the pate, and we went with a really fatty, creamy, rich chorizo. Then on to the cheeses, we've got your hard cheese, and this one is amazing. It's called Limousin, but it's a 26-month aged Gouda, and it's got yummy little crunchy crystals in it because of how long it's aged. Then we've got your kind of semi-soft cheese, and this one is also out of North Carolina. It's a blue cheddar, white cheddar, and so it's really, really palatable for your guests, and that's going to be kind of your mid-range cheese. Then we've got, for your soft and spreadable cheese, a goat's milk cheese, and it's from Goat Lady. Then for all of your accoutrement, as Mike was mentioning, you want to have that tangy item, so something called cornichon. Say it.
French pickles. Because that's what they are.
Cornichons are these little
French pickles and
baby French
flesh
pickles.
Meat.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Flesh meat
Cooked
and
flesh.
French pickles.
French
but
pickles
yeah,
with cooked flesh.
they're really nice. They've got a nice little crisp to them. They're not too sour, not too sweet. And then you want to do some kind of preserve. There's all kinds. We're using a fig preserve here, but really anything, and you don't have to go super expensive on the preserves. And then, you can add some other little fun things like fresh or dried seasonal fruits. We're using raspberries here. And then you want to make sure that you've got that starch element so that people aren't just shoving meat and cheese in their mouth, that they've got a little, saucer to put it on. And so you want to make sure to use some artisanal crackers, which we have here. Or if you like something more of a bread option, you can do a really hearty, crusty bread, or even the little toasted crostini. And if you put all of those things together, should you choose, you can put little place cards to describe what they are. You're going to have the perfect charcuterie board, and it's going to have something for everybody.
And it's just going to look good, and it's impressive. And I remember the word now that I was trying to figure out earlier. It's medieval. The word, like, it was this medieval, this cool, we're warriors or knights or whatever, and
Barbarians.
We're barbarians, and we're eating meats and cheeses, and yes, it's very medieval. And you get into the moment with the fats and the oils, and it's very nice, and it looks very beautiful too. It's a
Can
really
you tell
nice.
we're really hungry?
Very hungry. I'm ready to eat.
Let's
eat.
do it.
All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed our little charcuterie exploration of meats and cheeses, and maybe it wasn't a spirits education, but it was definitely a social club education. And if you're going to be social and eat drink, then you might as well eat well too. And there's some really great ideas for making charcuterie boards, and get your cooked flesh and your French pickles, and have fun with it. If you like what you saw, tell all your friends, and have them like and subscribe. Click the link below. It'll take you to our website where you can find some really fun stuff about Revival 1869, and our online store where we sell all of our house-made syrups and some really fantastic barfly equipment to just up your game at home, bartending game at home, or even your professional game, because it makes some really great stuff. But please, once again, like, subscribe, check us out on Instagram and Facebook. Click, and yeah, that's it. And we'll see you in a week.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.